Welcome to another episode of the Goddess Sugar Podcast. I trust that you are arriving in gratitude, love, and all the magic the universe has to offer because you are very much magical. A gentle reminder before we dive in, everything that I speak about on my podcast comes from my personal truth, experiences, and journey. Take what resonates with your spirit and leave what doesn't. This is a space for exploration and not perfection. Trust your own path, and let's walk this magical journey together. Before any episode, I think it's important for me to acknowledge the people and the forces that have brought me here today. Thank you to my divine pantheon for trusting me with your ancestral wisdom. Thank you to Spirit for being all things. Thank you to the universe for holding the cosmic beauty of our infinity. Thank you to my ancestors who walked before me. Thank you to my sacred guides for holding my hand every step of the way. Thank you to my family, friends, mentors, teachers, and the collective who support me in this physical realm. And thank you to myself for daring to live as the goddess that I am. Hello, what is going on? Okay, we are back. The goddess is back. Are we back? What's going on? Hello. What are we talking about today? Okay, before I even get into the episode, I just want to thank everyone who taps into the episodes. When I tell you the messages you all send me, it just really warms my heart. Like, it really does. And I really appreciate it. It's very motivating, and I'm glad to hear that there are ones out here, clicking with the Goddess Sugar podcast. Yeah, as you can tell by my smile, like, it really does make me happy to see you all tuning in, and also to know that my messages are assisting and helping you and healing you in some form. I think that's so beautiful, and I'm just glad to be a part of that for you. Okay, so you already know how I am. I got my smoke today. So I got these new incense. This is white, sage, and lavender. It's giving clarity. Okay. And then, of course, I have my oud mood. Okay, because the girls know. You use Arabian perfume. That is the only way to do it. Okay, so you give it a little spritz, make the boys go crazy. I want to start our episode out with the card from the deck. So I already shuffled these, by the way. I always shuffle them before I get on. So here we go. What's the one on the top? Period. I deserve good things. I deserve good things, and you deserve good things. Just to remind you. Okay, so this episode is for the woman that is becoming. When you evolve, your frequency begins to rise. And that also means as you are rising, there are some things and some people that you're not going to be able to take with you. And don't think of that as a loss. It's simply alignment. Today, we're going to be talking about how to navigate outgrowing versions of yourself and maybe versions of your life as well. How to honor it, and also how to walk forward and continue being the goddess that you are. Get whatever makes you feel comfortable. Get your tea, get the herbs, get the incense, the candles, crystals, everything, okay? Because we're so about to go down. Let's really get into it. So, as you are evolving, your reality is starting to shift. Your frequency is starting to shift. It's natural that you would want to bring the things and bring the people that have been with you this whole time. You're thinking that, okay, they're going to come with me into this next level, right? No, that's not how it works. I really go by this saying that some things and people are for a reason, season, or a lifetime, okay? We have to come to terms with the fact that a lot of people and a lot of things are here for a season. And once you come to terms with that, I think there's a lot more peace you can feel inside as you are evolving. Because I know for me, that's something that's been a little uncomfortable for me to deal with. Like certain people that I used to have great conversations with, or certain people that I used to hang around, or that were just simply in my life, as I find myself evolving, something doesn't feel aligned anymore. And I used to question myself a lot, like, is it me? Like, what is going on? Because why does this not feel like it used to? And I had to come to terms with something shifting here. Something is shifting, okay? And when your soul is going through its own rebirth and you are moving to that next level in life, yes, the things that are technically a part of this old reality that you're moving out of is not going to feel right. It's not going to sit right anymore. Maybe at one point you had a group of friends, right? And maybe y'all used to gossip and, do different things that, were like, you know, but as you are evolving and you're coming out of that, maybe that doesn't feel right anymore. Maybe it just no longer feels the same. And it's because your soul is like, this is no longer me. This is no longer a part of where I'm going and where I'm headed. I also start to notice this, not just in myself, but I start to notice this with different people who are on their like healing journey, like people who are very intentional about like doing their inner work. As you start to do that inner work, because you are opening up yourself and you are dissecting yourself, right? When you're doing this inner work, when you're doing your shadow work, or whatever the case may be, you start to realize like, maybe I don't identify with that anymore. And that is okay. Things or frequencies or people that you used to identify with maybe 5 years ago, you maybe don't identify with that anymore because you are shifting. You have evolved out of that. You have moved to another level. Like, think about it like a game, right? So let's say you were on level 2 and now you're on like level 8. Well, yeah, the stuff that was on level 2, that's no longer going to resonate with you because you're on level 8 now. And I know in my life in particular, there are certain people that, as I said before, at one point, it did feel aligned and it did feel right. And I'm not sure if anyone out there really resonates with this, but I notice that I tend to evolve quicker than a lot of people around me. And as I'm moving into a different version of Zipporah, I had to look at it and I'm like, when I look at this person, they're more so aligned with the old version of Zipporah, but I'm moving into the new version of Zipporah. So there's a misalignment there, right? And I used to feel so bad about that because what I would notice is like, sometimes I feel like something will happen between me and that person that will cause us to part ways. And that made sense. But there will be times where I would literally feel so bad because I'm like, I don't know how to tell this person that I no longer feel aligned with them. Like, they didn't do anything to me per se, but it's just like the energetics are not, what I'm saying? It's not what it used to be. And, even when I would have conversations with them, sometimes when I would have conversation and some of the things we would talk about, I'd be like, I don't identify with that. Like, that doesn't resonate with me anymore, or it just doesn't, period. And I used to feel horrible. I don't know how to say that. Like, I don't even know how to bring up that conversation because, of course, that person's going to think, like, what I do to you, But no, I think it is important to realize that there doesn't need to be any guilt when there is misalignment. When you are growing and when you are healing and moving forward, and maybe that person is okay and content where they are at, but you're like, no, I want to move forward. I want to, reach different heights. I feel like it's important to not allow ourselves to sit in that lower program of guilt because you should not feel guilty for elevating. You know what I mean? You should not feel guilty for wanting more out of life. There's no reason to feel guilty about that, even though the world and society, will make it to be so. Some signs that you can tell that you are evolving, which I literally just made a TikTok about this. But anyway, so some signs that you can tell that you're evolving is you may start to feel drained in conversations or around certain people that maybe you didn't before. Or maybe not necessarily drained, but like overstimulated. That is a sign that maybe you are evolving past what that relationship is and what that season was. Also, I don't know if you ever felt this. I know I felt this, and this is why it's important to listen to your nervous system and listen to your body. So let's say you get around someone or you're about to meet someone, right? And you start to feel dread or you start to feel down. That is a sign that something's not aligned. And it may be time to maybe keep that person at a distance. Or a big one for me that I've noticed that I can tell like, this space is no longer aligned is like the conversations. Pay attention to your conversations with people. So if it seems like you're talking about like doing new things, moving to new levels, and from there in, it's like the same cycles, it's a big disconnect. Yeah, that's another sign. Maybe want to keep an eye out for those things as you are evolving and just being aware of them so that you're not getting caught up in the guilty feeling, or you're not invalidating yourself by saying like, why do I feel this way, or whatever the case may be. No, the thing is, y'all have to remember, before your mind knows, before your heart knows, you know what does know? Your body. Pay attention to your body. Your body is literally this vessel of discernment. Okay, like your body, the intuition that your body carries inside of it will know before you know, because the body keeps score. So that is something that I know that I've been very intentional about as of recently too, is letting my body tell me. Because the thing is, if you're around people who are aligned with you, that are healing for you, that are genuine like people for you, you feel very safe, you feel very peaceful around them, you feel like you can relax. Versus people that may not be aligned, what do you feel? I know that if I'm around someone that I do not feel aligned with, I typically feel dread, or I typically feel tense, because the alignment is just not there. I don't know how to bring up the conversation, so I feel like kind of like this, or just uncomfortable. Or I know a big one for me, especially like people I've known for a long time, if I start to feel drained around you, we gotta shut it down. Gotta shut it down. And so you may be wondering, like, Z, so how do you truly navigate this? You know, like I said, it's awkward bringing up the conversation. Honestly, that in itself, I think it really depends on the person and how you want to bring up that conversation. I feel like there's a way to do it without it being what's like cutthroat, you know what I mean? There's definitely, a way to do it. For me, I know like the way that I speak, I like to say things as they are. I think it's important. Like if you're someone like me and you say things as they are without really sugarcoating, it can be a conversation of, that you just no longer feel aligned. But also, it doesn't just have to be that. You can also say you do appreciate the time and the season that you all had together, and you do bless them as this cut of ties is happening, because that's what's happening energetically, right? Also, I think it's important to realize that you can detach from people without villainizing them. Sometimes it's not necessarily that someone did you wrong or did you dirty. It's just energetically, you both are in two different spaces. And so I think it's important to understand that you can detach from people without villainizing them, without them being the bad person, or whatever the case may be. Also, for yourself, I think it's important to maybe saying it to them, if you feel like that's part of the conversation, is having love and appreciation for the season that you did have. Because even though they may not be no longer aligned with you now and where you're going, they were aligned at one point with you, right? That's why you had the season, whether the season was a few months, a few years, a day, you know what I mean? Whatever time that you all had together, it was aligned for that season. You get what I'm saying? So that person and you in that relationship with them played your role, right? So I think it's important that detachment doesn't have to be anything bad. There is a way to do this in a way that is honoring yourself, but also holding space and consideration for the other person. And many of us have dealt with, as we, have chosen to be intentional about our healing journey, is the loneliness, right? I feel like everybody talks about that, and the feeling of that. Just speaking from my own experience, I don't say that I really necessarily experience it now, but I will say, like, years back when I actually decided to be very intentional about my spiritual awakening, oh my God, it was extremely lonely. I feel like I've kind of dealt with loneliness throughout my life, period. But definitely when I decided to be extremely intentional about my spiritual journey years ago, that was very hard. And I felt that loneliness like in my heart, you know what I mean? Because once I really dissected things and like dissected myself and realized who I was attaching myself to for the wrong reasons, and I'm like, ooh, that is not aligned with where I see myself or where I want to go. So I'm probably going to have to keep this person at a distance as I'm going through this. Yes, I'm not going to lie to you. There is going to be a period and periods where you do feel lonely, when you feel like you're doing it all by yourself, when you feel like, damn, am I aligned with anybody? I'm the one that like keeps evolving. I'm feeling like each time I evolve, like seasons are over, and that's okay. And I do want to say this. I want to give you this silver lining. because I had the same thought years ago. I wasn't sure. Am I just going to be doing this alone? Because I don't know if there are people aligned with me. And I want to rewrite that whole narrative for you. If you are thinking that, if you are feeling that, yes, there are people that are aligned with you. There are people that are on the same wave. Y'all have to remember, collectively, it may not feel like it in the moment, but collectively, there are so many people literally going through the same thing that you're going through, that are in the same step of their healing journey that you are. So yes, there are people aligned with you. And the thing is, at the beginning, I feel like it's harder. You know what I'm saying? Because you are releasing yourself of the conditioning of society and of the world and who you were told you were in the process of reprogramming yourself. But I'm telling you, the more that you do it and the stronger that you become, the more resilient that you become, you literally are going to attract. You're going to attract people who are like you and who understand you. You're going to meet them and it's going to be like, yo, we were long lost sisters. We were long lost brothers. Like, I'm telling you, that has happened so many times to me where, me just being very authentic about my journey and me being like, you know what, regardless of who's around, I'm going to continue to be on my healing journey. I'm going to continue to deepen my spirituality. And then I started to attract people who are on the same wave, people I can have conversations with, people that's like, okay, I see you, sis. I want to rewrite that narrative for you right now. Okay. If you are in this space where you're kind of in the in-between, right? You're like, I want to be intentional about my spiritual journey, or even for the ones who are trying to deepen their spiritual journey or spirituality, you can. And there are people that are aligned with you, and there are people that are with you. Okay, I'm going to say that again. There are people that are aligned with you. Okay, do not forget that. I just wanted to put that out there because I wish that I would have heard that when I started my spiritual journey, like for real. With people, with environments that you're not feeling that are no longer aligned with you because you are moving forward and moving to new heights. Please understand, anything that you lose, spirit will make sure that is replaced with better. And I love this saying. I forgot where I heard it, but it said, God will never let your best be what you lost. I always think about that when I feel like, did I take an L? Or what I'm saying? Like, what's going on? It's like, no, that wasn't your best. It's okay. It's better. It's better coming. Whatever is lost, there is space being made for better to come into your life because you are upgrading. You are moving into a better reality. So you need better things. You need better people. You know what I'm saying? You are never losing anything. You are always upgrading. When you get to this point where it feels like things are being taken from you, or you just feel like you're releasing a lot, that's good. Releasing is a good thing. I like to think of this with crying, right? Because I used to think crying like made me look weak, And so I know growing up, like I was kind of told by like other kids in school and things like, oh, you're too sensitive. But the thing is, I learned, no, crying is a great form of release. Because when you cry, when you let those emotions out, they're no longer bottled. They're no longer suppressed. So the reason why I tied this back to crying as a form of release is because I just wanted to explain that releasing is a good thing. Because your current reality, all the spaces are filled. You have all this clutter and all these things going on. But as you are moving into a new reality, please understand that space needs to be made so that you can hold this new reality. Because that's the thing too. Sometimes we get upset with spirit. We get upset with the universe. Like, why are you not giving this to me? Why is this not happening? Because you don't have any space to hold it. You don't have any space to hold the blessing, love. Like, so you have to make space. And how do you make space? You get rid of some things. You declutter. Okay. You release things that are no longer aligned, that you're no longer using, etc., etc. Do you get what I'm saying with this? Do you get where I'm going? So that's what I mean. It's not that we just toss things out and call it a day. No, we are thankful for the season. We are thankful for the reason why this person, this thing, this environment was in, your reality for this lifetime. But now you're moving to new heights, baby. So it's time for something new. Okay? We gotta keep it going. With this being said, Goddess, as your vibration is starting to lift, as you're starting to shine brighter, as you're starting to remember the goddess that you are, please understand anything that does not assist you with that, anyone that is not helping you, also remember that. Gotta keep them at a distance, boo. Okay? Sometimes you don't have to cut them off all the way. You can keep Keep it at a distance. You know what I mean? But understand, as you're evolving and as you are stepping more and as you are activating your goddess power, there are going to be things and people that are no longer serving your energy in that space, and that is okay. And a form of this releasing is you shedding your skin. I love to think about the snake, right? The snake sheds its skin. That's what we are doing. As we are going through constant rebirth and constant elevation, we shed that skin. So what is a part of that skin? Maybe it's old habits, maybe it's mental patterns, maybe it's thoughts, it's spaces, it's environments, it's people, it's all these different things that were a part of this old skin that now that you have to let go because it's no longer in alignment. We have to let it go. We have to shed it so that we can be transformed and be reborn into this upgraded version that life is requiring us to be in order for us to reach those new heights. Release is simply a form of rebirth. You are not here to shrink to fit into expired spaces. You are born to expand boldly and beautifully. Until next time, love, continue to walk in your truth, shine in your softness, and never apologize for evolving. You are remembering the goddess that your soul always knew that you were. Stay calm, and remember, even when life tries to throw salt in your sugar, be a goddess anyway. Peace and blessings. Much love. Ciao, ciao. Ashe. Until next time, love. XOXO.